Wake up, buyer payer people. It's a beautiful day. Go grab yourself another cup of joe and say hello to Jim and Michelle Rhodes on the Buy Here Pay Here morning show. Take it away, you two.
Good morning. Happy Friday. It is July 1st.
Sure is. Nice.
Which means that we are now in the second half of 2022. Where has the year gone?
Yeah, it's been a really interesting and busy first half of the year for us.
Yeah.
And every indication is the second half is going to be as busy.
Why is it that we always you talk to people, it's July 1st, like, oh my gosh, the year has gone by so fast. And so, why does it just seem to go by so much faster than it did like when we were a kid? Mm-hmm. Holy heck, 20 minutes felt like a lifetime.
Yeah.
And now...
Are you saying world? I'm hearing you say the world.
Well, either that or the world is getting faster.
Oh, that could be that too. Yeah, definitely getting faster, which kind of ties into our theme for today.
Yeah, one of the two things. But welcome. We're glad that we could have you all here. And just a couple of quick things before we dive into what we wanted to talk about. One of which, again, TIADA coming up.
Right.
Check their website if you haven't already registered. Really, really, really great conference for people in Buy Here, Pay Here.
And we will be broadcasting live from Austin, Texas. Again, still need to work out the details about.
Will that be in our hotel room?
Right,
will that be out on the floor? We don't know exactly yet. So I'm sure that we will be having that conversation soon. I know that the folks there were pretty busy before NIADA and Jim and I will be we'll be talking once, and then Jim will be handling a dealer panel with some really, really cool dealers on the Tuesday. But the Monday, we're going to be speaking on 101 business planning.
Mm-hmm. Some very successful and well-established dealers attending when we do that panel. And so, I'm excited to do that on Tuesday. Yeah. And then you and I will be speaking on business planning.
Yeah.
And for those of you who might be in Texas or otherwise attending, we just want to say once more that session is not just for business planning for dealers who are brand new in the business. This will be of value to anybody who, to any dealer, period. I mean, what we're going to talk about will be of value to any dealer at any stage of their Buy Here, Pay Here business.
Yeah, it'll be fun. And those of you that know us, that we'll be talking about some things that really typically aren't talked about.
Sure.
In your typical class. So we're looking forward to seeing y'all out there. We see that there's a bunch of people that are listening to us live. So if you want to, shout out where you're from and what,
please,
and who you are.
Yeah.
Good morning or whatever.
Remember, it gives instructions there on the StreamYard broadcast, but in order for us to see your name, you just have to register with StreamYard or give permission through Facebook for us to be able to see your name. But otherwise, just maybe throw your name on there and what state you're from. And we appreciate folks listening in.
And so this is the beginning of a 3-day weekend. Mm-hmm. We have a federal holiday on Monday. So some of you may not be open on the 4th. I think most people that we know are not.
Right.
So we will be broadcasting a recorded episode on Monday because we kind of decided that we wanted to be able to enjoy family and sleep in a little bit.
I wasn't thinking about the sleep part, but
I love sleep.
Yeah, for sure. We're not getting enough of it these days, but I think, that broadcast is really for anybody who does tune in live, who didn't know we weren't going to be live on Monday. For those who tune in, there'll be a short session there or a short show for that audience, but we're going to take a break from that. So we'll be recording something that will go out on Monday morning at the regular scheduled time. Yeah.
So good morning, Bill. Bill is out there doing the stuff that NIADA Dealer 20 group moderator does and visiting some people. And those of you who have been kind of watching us on Facebook, there is a new tour that is going on, and it's called the Smoked Old Fashioned Tour.
And I feel like we're falling behind. I think Bill is
I think Bill, like, he picked this up. He picked the baton up and he is running with it.
Yeah. So watch for the hashtag near you.
Yeah. And it's great. We've enjoyed a couple of smoked old fashions with him and got some really great video of one that was enjoyed last night. So
it's just a fun reward for me. It's just a really nice treat.
It's different than a regular old fashioned. So those of you who have not ever had a smoked old fashioned but enjoy an old fashioned, and I'm not talking putting smoke flavoring like your bitters into it. I'm talking about wood fired smoke.
And it's not necessarily a new thing. It's just something that we've found that we particularly enjoy. And so we've, and we found that Bill Elizondo also enjoys one. And so we're that's becoming the new tour. And by the way, Bill, I did find out there are some places here in Salt Lake City where we can get one. So look forward to meeting up with you. I know
when we get back.
Yeah. So we're making a quick run to Colorado for the weekend to spend some time with family and might even get in a little golf.
Okay. So, you people out there in By Perryland probably don't know that we both really enjoy golf. Did we even pick up our clubs last year at all? We were so busy.
Maybe
I know we carted them around the country in the RV, but I don't think we picked them up at all.
No, we never played.
So, so we're going to have to beg forgiveness
from one time in the Florida Panhandle. I think was the last time we played.
Oh yeah. I think we have done Top Golf, but that doesn't really count.
Probably not. Yeah.
So, one other quick thing is that I think, are you planning on? Oh yeah, we may. Jim can tell you how to do this, but I think that we are set up to take a phone call if someone has something that they want to add to the conversation. So
we're in test mode. So we think we're discovering a way to bring listeners into the conversation. So if anybody's listening this morning that has my cell phone and wants to dial the phone,
we can only do one person at a time. So we'll try to keep it brief. If anybody does decide that they want to log in or to give us a quick call, but let's talk about the topic of the day.
Yeah. So we teased with our title that we want to talk about what stinky cars might have to do with with this whole thing about digital delivery.
You mentioned to me while we were having our first cup of coffee, I think I'm on my second now, that it had something to do with stinky something. And all of a sudden it just clicked it is that he's talking about. And now it's funny as heck. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So. I really should make sure that Michelle is awake before we start these shows. But no, so we had a shopping experience, and I might back up and tell the part of the story where, this is a company that I won't mention their name, but I've done business with them many times over the years, bought cars for my kids, and have recommended folks go there. It's a nice shopping experience. And so I started there again. Like I was,
it's someone that you know.
Well, it's a group. It's a dealership.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a dealership that you know, and that you're familiar with how they do business, and you're familiar with.
And I've always been pleased, had good experiences with them, and so it was just naturally. And then add to that the fact that we travel so much and bouncing around, and so we got an approval that was good for 30 days, and we weren't sure where we were going to be buying. So jumped on their website, got pre-qualified. That kind of let me know what the rates would be.
We did that while we were in Florida, and we've been to like 17 different states. I'm obviously exaggerating, but so we landed in Utah
with the expectation of buying a car here.
And thinking that we had, oh my goodness, we have this whole thing figured out, and we need to get a car on Saturday.
Yeah. So, for our listeners, I'll make sure they know where I'm going with all this. Is like it led to this thing about, because I was an observer, as much as I was a participant in the whole car buying process.
Me or the entire process?
The entire process. Yeah.
Because I'm part of this whole title thing.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So that was also part of the thing is like, so we see in our industry, obviously in buy here, pay here, more so in the retail business, but it's also penetrating the buy here, pay here space as well as, the internet age that we're in, this matter of, online car shopping, people shopping from their cell phones. And now we're moving toward a digital delivery format. Obviously, people are watching the whole Carvana experience, and we're hearing of consumers talk about their Carvana experience. And so as that happens, we're just mindful as, coaches and advisors, we're mindful of that whole thing. And, I can generally tell you that we're asking our clients to be adaptable and be prepared to serve customers wherever they are, meet them and wherever they might be in that shopping experience, and let them do business in the way that they want to do business. The way you always say it is, what do you want to do? Like, if you're working, what's your website need to look like? Well, it's just like offer the
What do you
consumer,
want to do?
how do you want to buy?
Yeah.
And so that's kind of the approach that we're taking so that we can reach customers, however they'd prefer to buy, because you got a changing world. You got, it's definitely different generationally. I mean, a young consumer is going to want to buy differently, obviously we're speaking generally, but they're going to want to buy differently, than a consumer our age might. So it's something to be aware of.
Yeah.
So as I jumped on and did the pre-qualification, just took a few minutes and had the pre-qualification.
Searched.
And so I used those filters to go find cars.
Which is great. Really
yeah,
super
it's really nice.
user friendly. I mean, obviously we're regular retail clients. So, we kind of do have a little bit more of the opportunity of a lot of choice, a lot of choice.
Yeah. So we were able to go and kind of use the pre-qualification to go, pick some vehicles. And so if I take that and look at it through the lens of the typical shopper, I mean, this was, again, not a buy here, pay here transaction, but it was a shopping experience through an online, process. And there were a couple observations about that. It was easy for me to get pre-qualified and then go to their website and continue the shopping experience with the pre-qualification, followed me everywhere I went shopping, and all that stuff was nice. And then when we kind of narrowed it down to one car, we identified one. We were in Salt Lake City. We found one at the local lot. And so we scheduled to go visit it. We actually scheduled an appointment online through their portal.
I'd like to go back a little bit, because when we first, and this is another piece that I think that we can all learn from. This is an established company. They've got really slick online process. We had to, when we got pre-approved, say which local location that we were going to go to, and crickets.
Yeah, we got from that
location.
Message.
So it's like, and that was really like, really, crickets?
Yeah, it was strange because, and look, there could be any number of explanations.
We actually reached out to them asking a question. Crickets.
Yeah, they did. So I think you might not remember that. I did get one text message from the local sales rep. I got one. And so that was right after I sent in my thing, my application. And so within, an hour or so, I got a text message from a rep with a name at the local store saying, happy to help. And then I responded to that and kind of, might come Saturday or whatever. And then not a single word after that.
No, the gal that we talked to, because we did talk to somebody, and just that was like a BDR. Yeah. And so business development rep. And so she was super, super helpful, but she was remote and she wasn't on the site, but she was like, if you're going that route, and so she was fantastic, on point.
Yeah. One interesting thing that happened in that is she offered to co-shop with me. She offered to join me on an online virtual meeting and take me shopping, through their website, and help me which was a nice offer. Yeah. I was already quite familiar with the whole filtering process and how to shop on my own. So I didn't take her up on it, but I thought that was an interesting thing. That's basically what we suggest to a lot of our clients.
Calling it co-shopping. Can I co-shop with you?
Yeah. So it's a nice way to think about that. And so I think it's part of what we are trying to do is, use, use Messenger, use virtual meetings, get face-to-face with people so that you can, just basically do the experience as though you were sitting with them.
So just, before we go back to our experience here, moral of this story is that a virtual business development can be really effective. If they've got like the let me shop with you, which is actually putting them on the same side of the table as you. And it diffuses so much of you're a salesperson. She's like, I want to go shopping. Can we go shopping too? So that was really, really beautiful. The other, so if that's something that you guys want to do, and want to go more with the online approval process, that's a beautiful thing to add in a layer in that if you don't want to be able to have that process done virtually before they step foot on the lot. The other thing is if you're gonna have a lead funnel, if you're gonna have a way to get people to in front of your salespeople, make sure your salespeople have the expectation set that they are really responsive.
Well, and
Yeah.
in today's day and age, the systems can do part of the automation of the follow-up, which can be good. I mean, we don't want to be a nuisance, but we certainly want to follow up,
Mhm.
if we only want to finance the customers who are unemployed and on the couch all day, that's one thing. But if you're going to finance folks who are employed, which most of us do, then they're busy.
Yeah.
They're on the go. And just because they didn't respond to your last text message doesn't mean that they're not still in the market to buy a car and couldn't use some help from us. So
Yeah.
the follow-up thing is a piece of this that I observed I was really surprised that an operation as sophisticated as that, I can appreciate them being shorthanded. I can appreciate them making a policy decision not to be a nuisance, but this was worse. This was they weren't following up at all. They weren't touching base with me at all.
And we see some of the softwares that are out there that help with this process, that it's super easy to set up reminders for salespeople.
Sure.
Once someone gets into their funnel, that it's like, have you reached out to them? And they're automated.
You're right.
So it will remind them every day, reach out.
And very few of the dealers that we talk to have so much business that they can't make time to follow up.
Yeah.
It's mostly the other.
So let's that was moral of the story of part one.
Yeah.
Part one. So let's move to part two.
So part two of the story is
where the
we filter inventory, we decide what we want, we kind of narrow it down to body style and miles and all the good stuff. And now we identified one. And then this was kind of jumped off the page. This is,
this looks like a really good option.
So
everything looked good.
So what do? We jumped to the website, we clicked the car, we scheduled an appointment for that particular car.
They reserve that car so no one else can drive that car.
They put it on hold. And so we were able to schedule that without any kind of deposit. We were able to schedule the part. And so we blocked off that time, and we went in the afternoon, and we got there, and it took a minute to get a rep assigned to us. And then, so we walked out and started looking at cars. And Michelle, you might want to pick up the story from there.
So it took a couple of minutes to get him started. And those of you who know, it's summer, and when it's summer and windows are rolled up in vehicles, the vehicles, if it's 95 degrees outside, we all know what happens on the inside. None of us like getting into a car that's been shut up for a long time because it's hot as Hades.
Mm-hmm.
And so, the vehicles are hot. So, so we finally get like the ability to get in the car.
We had to go find it ourselves.
Because they were busy, and they left, everything was gated. So they left the cars unlocked with the keys and stuff on the car, and opened the car door, and oh my gosh, what died in that car? It was awful. It was absolutely awful. And I was like, oh honey, Plan B. So we went car to car, and it got to the point where the first thing I did, lovely vehicles. First thing I did was put my head in there and take a good deep whiff. And there were a couple that it's like, oh my God, I'm gonna throw up. It was bad. And I thought some of them were, I'm not a real fan of stale tobacco. And so there were some that were like that. There were some that smelled like sour milk. There were some that smelled like rotten chicken. And I'm like, I'm sure that they're getting them from all over the place, but on paper, online, they look fantastic.
Sure. Virtual tour. You got a 360 photo. The cars are clean inside and out. Yeah.
Great miles. Great. And, and it's like, and priced appropriate for the type of car.
Nice warranty included and whatever. So I think you're probably connecting the dots on where we're going with this story already. It's like, we were all queued up to buy this car. This was going to be the car. If it drove well, we were ready to sign the documents and take the car home. And then suddenly we're starting from scratch again, because all of the kind of next level cars that we were interested, we walked through their inventory and we looked through, but nothing really excited us. And so
we did kind of like, okay, this one could work. I didn't like, am I not that picky?
No comment.
Be careful. Actually it wasn't me so much as you're like, honey, I don't really like the color.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I
And
have my
so
own
the
preferences.
rest of it, I mean, it smelled good, which, that went from not even on the radar of something that we were looking at to, I'm sorry, that's the first thing now that I'm checking.
And again, we're not the typical buy here, pay here consumer, but we all want to love the car that we drive,
Yeah.
especially if we're going to drive it for 3 or
And
4
not
years or
feel
whatever.
like we're gonna have to pull off on the side of the road and
Yeah.
I'm sorry, it
But
was bad.
so let's understand that, the point of what we're talking about here in the context of digital delivery is, it's been my belief before. And I think what that really did was kind of confirm for me that, the digital process is interesting. It's a cool opportunity. And I heard a story the other day about somebody who bought a car and had a car
Oh
delivered to
yeah,
their
yeah,
door
yeah.
from
And
2
they
hours away.
loved it.
Yeah, and
They
it's
loved the
great. But
entire
what if they had
process.
driven? What if they had delivered a car 2 hours away to somebody, and then they got in and had a smoke
Experience
smell
like
or
me.
something that
Yeah.
was,
Oh,
a turn off, or otherwise just didn't feel right. They drove it and it just didn't feel right. I mean, this is my point about the whole digital thing. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't evolve and adapt. We definitely, in a buy here, pay here business, we need to be prepared to adapt. We're certainly heading into some different times.
yeah.
I'm no prognosticator. Like I can't tell you what's going to, change in our industry exactly, but most of us anticipate changes are coming.
Mhm.
We got market changes and we need to be able to adapt. So that just means the way people buy is also adapting or changing. So we're asking our clients out there to be prepared to meet customers where they are, serve them, and ask them, how do you want to do business? And let's make sure that our process is designed to serve either one. And I think what I'm trying to suggest here is we've seen how slick the digital thing can be.
Mhm.
And if the customer was pre-qualified, they'd already chosen a car and they came in and it drove exactly as expected, then it's a quick and simple
Oh, we
process.
would have been
Easy
in
for
and out of there and
Yeah, and we've seen it with our clients who
Yeah.
are using some pretty sophisticated
Oh, yeah.
CRMs and approval, methods. And so it's like
Yeah.
customer can get pre-approved and
Oh,
basically
yeah.
come and take delivery, right?
Yeah, that actually just reminds me of we helped a client launch a new underwriting tool, and Neo,
Mhm.
and the day that it went live, we had all the automations on. We get in with because we were on site when Neo went live. We get in and they open the system up and they already have one person in there that has landed on a car, been pre-approved by their
Right.
application process on the
Mhm.
website. They'd already loaded their steps, so their license, their
So they
pay,
upload with a photo from their phone.
everything. And these people were all they had to do was come and drive the car,
Yeah.
and that's
So
it.
this
Done.
customer had
Yeah.
already had a soft credit pull, so that it gave them a credit rating
Mhm.
inside the CRM and underwriting
Mhm.
thing. So yeah, it was super
Super
slick.
slick. And there's stuff out there that most buy here pay here dealers have the ability to go very
That can
techy
happen. There
if
are
they
parts
want
of that
to.
that make me
Yeah.
uncomfortable, but what I'm learning to do is that, the data tells us that we shouldn't be uncomfortable. History says that customer meets the qualification.
Mhm.
We don't need to know as much about this customer as we did
Yeah.
back when I was, taking applications as a dealer myself or a manager
Mhm.
before that. It's like, we wanted to really know the customer quite well. And that's still the most comfortable place for me, is know the customer that we're stepping into a relationship with.
Mhm.
But in this day and age, we can see that the math, all the analytics say that this customer who did this and filled up this credit and
Good
they
good
have this
risk.
down payment on
Really
this
good.
particular
Yeah.
car, they meet the conditions. And so it should be a quick and simple delivery. So there's that. But then there's still just this matter of, what if the car doesn't drive and feel right?
Uh-huh.
You jump online and you pick one you like, and it's maybe you're a multiple location store, and there's a car that's at a certain location, and we want to pull the car from one location to another or whatever. It's like, okay, well, that's great, but what if we go through all that trouble and we get it here and it just doesn't feel right, just doesn't drive quite right, or
Mhm.
doesn't smell quite right, or whatever. It's got a blind spot. It doesn't just I'm not comfortable driving it. So we've gone through all this. So I think where you see where I'm going, like the former salesperson, sales manager in me wants to be able to use, relationship building and that old thing about rapport and building trust with somebody, and, eye contact and handshakes and all the stuff that is body language. And, we just really want customers there. So I'm still going to be recommending the approach that when the customer is comfortable doing so, when I can get them to agree to do it, I'm going to invite them in.
Mhm.
I want to have them here, and then whatever comes up, I can help them navigate whatever is going on in the process. If they need help with, and we need to talk about doing something different with a co-buyer, or whatever might be the case, or choosing a different car or whatever, they're there to work with me, and I can help them through that process. So it's still going to be my recommendation to clients. So let's invite the customer in, as soon as they can. If they can't, if that's not practical and we want to do a virtual meeting instead, fine. If they want to do an online application, fine. It's just that I'm going to still invite them in, knowing that when I have them here, that my chances of helping them and actually closing a deal and solving the problem is much higher when I've got them at the building.
So the moral of the story is be prepared to meet your customer where they are most comfortable meeting you.
Sure.
And also, if you got a smelly car,
yeah,
there's technology out there. There's stuff.
So
stuff
to kind
can help with that.
put a bow on it, we didn't make a purchase. We still haven't made a purchase, and so I think we still may do business with those folks. We've had zero follow up from them since we were in their dealership
which is
on
just
Saturday.
really, really weird.
On the one hand, you can say consumers don't like pushy salespeople, so maybe they don't. Maybe that's part of their strategy.
Maybe because we're in this industry and know how important it's like in art. It's follow up.
They did not withhold the keys from us, none of that stuff. So there was no games. So I'm still open to going back and doing business with them. It's just that we learned a lot going through that process. And I think how it applies for me in the buy here, pay here space is we just have to, I think some follow-up is appropriate, and we don't want to be a nuisance, but we certainly want to keep checking in with people. And then, it's a separate subject, but sometimes the whole follow-up thing in the context of a buy here, pay here arrangement, like there's just something fundamentally uncomfortable to me about pursuing a customer who's a poor credit consumer and say, come bring your poor credit and come do business with us. There's just something fundamentally uncomfortable about that for me. And so we're always trying to navigate that, it's like.
But that was our story. We're sticking to it on that front. And then I did want to shout out to Emily from Payoneer Mish. She said good morning from Pennsylvania. And Bill, there was one thing that he mentioned in here that I want to tease for, and I think we've kind of teased it before, but we need to write it down and make sure that we add a episode about this. He said virtual assistant, love that idea. We actually, I love the idea of a virtual assistant, period. We want to talk one of these days about a position that we helped develop or created for some friends of ours, a client of ours, that is called a customer advocate.
Right.
And so one of these days we're gonna chat about that. Maybe we will next week sometime.
Yeah.
Talk about, actually that might be, if we don't already have a guest for next Wednesday, that might be a really good White Hat Wednesday topic. But a customer advocate, and it can be really a game changer in some ways. And I
want to also share before we wrap up, I want to share with any listeners that we're moving on. We're fortunate to be adding some engagements, some clients, and we are always looking to how can we better support and serve them, right? So one of the things we're doing is we're hiring and bringing onto our team a marketing officer, and so we're
and a project
and that's
manager.
Not a virtual person. That's a very real person. Somebody we know.
We had cocktails. They didn't have smoked old fashions.
Yeah. But we expect to reach an understanding with them soon. And the reason that matters to any of our listeners is that not only is this person going to be able to provide some marketing help to us as a company, but also be able to add a lot of marketing help to our clients out there. So, that's something that Michelle and I are working on, and we've developed quite a lot of material curriculum around marketing for buy here, pay here. And so that's something that we look forward to having this person.
And we're not talking about replacing some of the people that we really love and enjoy in this space. This is a beautiful complement to what it is that's out there. And
this is a person who would basically be representing us in all things marketing, and you and I would go focus on the operational side of what happens, and kind of, we would still be very much involved, but it's somebody who can take the lead on all the marketing
so we're
stuff.
hoping that sometime, within the next few weeks or something, we can
make that announcement.
Make that announcement.
Yeah.
So, all righty. Okay. So, hey, holiday weekend. Those of you who,
America.
those of you who just like, I'm sorry, but this is a cadence and I will be listening on Monday at 9 a.m. Eastern. You will be hearing a short recorded episode on Monday for those that aren't aware that we're not going to be live. And if you want to listen, great. If you know that we're not going to be there, if not, then we will see you live on Wednesday next week, which I don't even know what.
Go enjoy your family on Monday. Whatever we talk about on Monday that's pre-recorded, you can always find it in the playlist.
Oh,
later.
Absolutely. So yeah, the 6th, the 6th of July. And so have a fantastic weekend. Thanks so much for tuning in. And I think that's about it.
Yeah, enjoy your weekend.
All right. We'll talk to you later. Thanks. Bye.